Okay, I guess I'm just going to start. I'm going to be reading Grades versus Learning, Shifting Attention to What's Important from the Grade Network. Link will be in the description. It's probably going to flip around a bunch because a lot of it's just boring stuff. I've only read not even half of it. It's just the history of grades here. That's talking about how grades actually came to be. And it's not really useful to know this. This is just all you need to know is that grades are fairly recent phenomenon. They only came around 1940s. So that's all you need to know there. But then scrolling down, why students value grading more than learning. We don't. That's the simple question here. If grades were not created with students in mind, why do students care so much about them? Well, it's tempting to blame teenage hormones or social media or any of the other usual scapegoats. Students are ultimately responding to the structure of our educational system. What that's basically saying is we are valuing our grades, we are valuing our education, and what you adults think about it really changes everything. Because if you think grades are more important than what we are learning actually, then it's not worth it. And yes, I see in this next section the stakes are high, that it goes to the overall GPA, and GPA gets you into colleges, like Texas colleges. Can get you there. But, a student with a 2.5 GPA who retains everything from their classes would be more likely to actually succeed in life than this 4.0 who thrown away all their papers the minute high school ended. That's important to realize, because if your kid knows everything and has bad grades, it could be the test environment and how stress and anxiety is playing a role, and how mom and dad factor in. Many parents, particularly in high-achieving, high-pressured schools, go directly to teachers to try to get their children's grades raised. And one 2014 survey found that 80% of kids thought that their parents cared more about their achievements than their happiness or altruism. That's tough. That's tough. Even me, who is currently in high school, it's tough to know. 80% of kids, not only in these high-achieving, high-pressured schools, but just in general, 80% of kids thought that their parents cared more about their achievements than their happiness or altruism. There are more deaths in America ranging kids 10 to adults around 34. There's more of them not live to themselves. And that number's only going to rise. There's nothing else that anybody can do. That number is going to rise. I, myself, cannot put an end to it. The government themselves cannot put an end to it. The whole country itself cannot put an end to it. Why? Because that's what school's teaching. School's teaching me and your kids, if you're an adult, or if you are a kid, School is teaching you. Nothing can be done about that. And that is not true. Everything can be done about it. You just have to look. It's a tough concept to understand, but it's there. You just have to look. Moving on. The parents value good grades so highly, many students use their grades as a barometer for their intelligence. Kids, if you are watching this, if your mind has not been brainwashed by school already, don't let it. Imagine freely even if it gets you in trouble. I like writing stories, fiction stories. They're fun to write. And I am attempting to write a book right now. Not currently, I'm making video now, but you understand. I have a little journal for when I daydream. If I don't continue a story to figure out how to write the next chapter, I make up a new one and I write it down. Why do I write it down? So I can reflect back on it later and realize, hey, this is good. And I probably want to continue with this story. When the goal is to be smart, the formula is reduced to maximizing grades while minimizing effort. Whereas, when the goal is to learn, the formula is about maximizing learning. Learning with optimizing effort. Smart is not learning. Learning is what you will retain forever. It is something like brushing your teeth or how to tie your shoe. You won't necessarily do it every day of your life. You will have that with you and you have learned it. Sense of self-worth. Even if they don't try to maximize their academic effort, many students base their sense of self on academic achievement, often in the form of grades. Sad part about self-worth, many students that I have known, and I have and I am now and do know, have thrown self-worth out the window. It is useless to them when their main sense for life is grades. What are you supposed to do when you're free from all that? If I finish high school and I just decide not to go to college and start fulfilling my dream right there and then, nobody's going to stop me. Nobody can stop me. No one's going to put a grade on it. It is just going to be there. It's no wonder students act like getting a poor score on an essay is a personal attack. To them, it is. To adults and parents that are watching this, if your child gets a low grade, to them that is all they know. That it is a personal attack, and they will take it personally. And they will feel like a failure because they did not meet the grade standard that you wanted. And that often leads to depression, anxiety, stress, anger problems, and also can lead to drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and eating disorders. That's not fun. Living with depression, anxiety, and stress is not fun. Living with wanting to unlive myself every single day is not fun. I don't know how I'm still functioning. And it's hard to know that I am still. I have my ways to get depression away for short amounts of time, but it just comes back. My ways to get anxiety away for a smart amount of time, but it'll come back. Stress, can't get that away, sadly, with my current conditions and everything else that's happening in life. Chronic stress is all that I know. In a broad sense, intrinsic motivation is important because it is linked to more excitement, confidence, persistence, creativity, and well-being, as well as enhanced performance. In a purely educational sense, research shows that motivational orientations associated with secondary school and probably actually experienced at that time are important prerequisites for the formation of task values during adulthood. Intrinsic motivation, or even motivation itself, could change the fate of somebody.